Alright, YouTube. We're going to get 2 days in a row here in the rain. If I don't get rained on hard, you guys see some lightning here before I move out of the way. So, hey, today's topic of discussion. Something I've been thinking about since the hiatus. And then silver moved like $3 in 2 days. Things moving fast, things moving quickly. Implementing plans. Get your plans in place and execute, right? Executing your plan, putting parts in place is talked about often in many different scenarios, from the bugging out to the bugging in to the wildfire, floods, tornadoes. All those things require, people talk about having a plan to what you're going to do and where you're going to go and all the things, right? And I think one thing we don't talk about, or one thing we don't discuss, or one thing we don't think about enough is the slow burn and executing a plan. When I first started videos, we got 6 years ago now, 7 years ago, like one of my first ones was getting out of the paper market and going into silver, and why. And this last couple weeks has really began me to think, do I need to start doing some of that exit strategy? Is the time coming? Is this the time? Is it happening? Not only buy all the things, but time to sell all the things, or is it time to know that the quote unquote economic collapse is upon us, right? How do you know? You don't know, especially in the slow burn scenario. In the slow burn, which I think, I'm fairly convinced we are experiencing, it's going to be harder to make decisions because it's not as clear cut. It's not there right in front of your face. I can walk down the street, look around, nothing seems abnormal, right? Nobody's dying in the street. Nobody is, on the street clanging bells, warning Will Robinson, right? That's not what's going on. These clouds are looking angry right here. So it's harder to make decisions in that environment. It's harder to understand when you need to make a decision, when you need to execute parts of, and some of it's just going to be considered life. Some of it is things we just consider a part of life. Making good financial decisions, having sound judgment just in your purchases, not purchasing as much, budgeting, all the things like that. But actually, in a slow burn, it makes it hard because you can see yourself making mistakes right in front of you, and everybody else can see it. Everybody around you can see them mistakes being made as you speak, literally, and you second guess yourself. You then become gun shy. It's kind of like a combat stress example. Might be you somebody that kills a non-combatant and then becomes trigger shy the next time around, and they end up paying for it, right? Similar, but just not. It doesn't seem as traumatic, but it's still in the back of your brain. I made a bad decision last time. I need to make sure I don't do that next time, right? So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Oh, these over here are angrier. Maybe. Maybe not. And I think that's going to be the real challenge of the slow burn, if we're not already in it, in the slow burn of the collapse, the economic collapse, is making sound decisions and being confident in your decision making. Even if it doesn't work out 100%, it's still the right thing to do, right? The suffering that might go along with that people are, the family and other people are going to gripe and complain, oh, we could have went to the movies, or just any example you want. That's just a small one, right? Any example you want would be, people second guessing you and complaining and griping is going to be kind of the start of it, right? That's going to be the lead up. And then it's things, as things progress 5 years from now or whatever, as it progresses and gets worse, people are going to be hungry, and people are going to, want to. There's other things that are going to factor in, unless you can do the things to make necessary that they're not in those, that you don't get to the Maslow hierarchy of needs decision-making level. And that's part of what prepping's about, but also in a slow collapse, making the decisions so you don't have to get down to those Maslow hierarchy of needs. You're not out on the street without a place, a shelter, without a home, in a slow collapse, slow burn. Those are the things that are going to go away, but it's going to be slowly, through any variety of means. There's a flasher. Where was that at? Oh, I'm missing all the good stuff. I'm not getting it. Happens one. Oh, and I dismissed that one too. Man. See, I move and they go one place and I go the other. But that's the big worry, I think, that I may have, and I just don't want to throw it out there, something to think about, is your decision making in this slow collapse. Because that's where we are. Bug Out Bubba's really articulated it well. He hasn't talked about it a lot lately, or at least I haven't seen. I have to go over and check out and see if he's done a video, but that's something he's always thought of, where we're going is that slow collapse scenario, and that's the big one that we're in the middle of, that people aren't going to realize it until it's too late, until they're out on the street foreclosed on, or any other government action kicks them out of their home or whatever, to where, as I've hypothesized, that as the collapse becomes more prominent, the police state grows and you have more police state actions, and if you become an enemy of the state, guess what? Yeah, exactly. May not be labor camps in name, labor camps in action maybe, or something of that nature. So that was just some thoughts here as we get to another storm day coming in. It's concerning, and it's one of those things where, like, what do you start executing now, because everything is apparently falling apart. And there's many indicators. We talked about the bond market, the bond yield inversion. The price of silver is now just wildly chaotic, spiked up. It's all it's early indicators, I guess you could say, but it's better to be 5 years too early than one day too late, right? So that's some thoughts, YouTube. Prepare hard, live free.